Hi, did you know that Clark County has a secret garden? My name's Pam Bennett and I'm horticulture educator for Ohio State University Extension, and I'm going to share with you one of the best kept secrets in the Springfield area. Let's take a walk through my secret garden. I'm standing in front of the Clark County Agricultural Agencies building, which houses the Soil and Water Conservation District, Farm Service Agency, as well as Ohio State University Extension. Behind this building is my special secret. Come on, let's go take a look at the gardens. I'm sitting in the center of the universe of the Gateway Learning Gardens. The Gateway Learning Gardens are maintained by Master Gardener volunteers as part of the Ohio State University Extension program. This garden was started in 1998 at this site. Before the gardens were developed, this was nothing but a few trees, a few taxus, and a lot of turf grass. The gardens are designed and dedicated to teaching people about best gardening practices. So come on, let's go take a look at the garden. The center of the universe is surrounded by our herb garden. Right here we have two formal gardens surrounded by the formal boxwood hedge. This garden is full of lavender and barberries, and on the other side we have a thyme garden with a thyme clock and the thyme in bloom. In the middle of the lavender garden, the sculpture that you see is actually from the old Donaldsville schoolhouse. That was part of the old steam boiler. We like to use pieces of artwork and materials from places around the county that we can incorporate into the garden. The brick path that we have here is from the old International Harvester building. We took the old bricks, recycled them, and created this path. Besides the two formal gardens, the herb garden is surrounded by a sensory garden on one side and a bird and butterfly garden on the other side. The sensory garden is designed so that there's plants in there and sounds and things that you want to use your senses to explore. Things to touch, things to taste, things to smell, things to hear, and so forth. In addition, we have an Herb of the Year garden. Straight behind me, we have the potager garden, which is a garden that would have been used back in the days where they had kitchen gardens. Basically, you would step outside the back door, cut some fresh flowers for a bouquet, and pick some vegetables for the dinner table. To the left of me, we have a larval garden for butterfly and moth larvae. If you're going to have a bird and butterfly garden, you also have to have food sources for the larvae or the caterpillars. We want insects and caterpillars to chew on these plants because this will give them the food source that they need to develop into butterflies and moths, where we'll find many hummingbirds and moths coming throughout the course of the summer. If you're standing in this garden in July and August, it's just nothing but movement with moths, butterflies, hummingbirds, hummingbird moths, and all kinds of critters. We also have a tea garden. In this garden, we have all kinds of plants that can be used to make tea. We've got yarrow, chamomile, and some different types of mints as well. So again, this is the center of our universe, and this is the herb garden surrounded by the sensory garden and the butterfly and hummingbird garden. Here in the gardens, we also conduct research for Ohio State University Extension. These beds that you see on either side of me are our annual field trials. We evaluate over 200 different varieties of annual flowers to see how they perform in the Midwest area. We plant them, we fertilize them one time, and we take care of them with very minimal maintenance. The best thing about these plants is that we don't deadhead them. Deadheading means you remove the dead flower blossoms. With many of today's new annuals and their genetics, you don't have to deadhead these plants. So we put them in the ground and pretty much let them take care of themselves. We learn about those plants that do very well in the Midwest gardens with very little input or maintenance. And after all, isn't that what most gardeners want? In addition, we like to take a look at different vegetable plants as well. You can see tomatoes and peppers planted. The peppers we're looking at for their ornamental value, and tomatoes, we're testing different types of cherry tomatoes this year to see which ones our volunteers like the most. The wooden structures you see in the difference are our shade houses. We put 70% shade cloth on that so that we can control the amount of shade that these plants receive. This section is our perennial display garden or demonstration garden. With the annuals, we do very little maintenance because we're testing the varieties. With the perennials, our goal is to show you some of the newest, latest, greatest varieties. This garden has over 700 different varieties of perennials. We will also have classes and tours where we can teach people best management practices in the perennial gardens. To my right, you see the beautiful 2011 Plant of the Year Baptisia. One of our goals in our garden is to share with people best management or best maintenance practices. We try to do things on a very low maintenance level. That means we always make sure we select the right plant for the right location. We'll teach classes and have tours and periodic sessions in the garden just to share with you best practices that you can be adopting and using in your own garden. The other thing that we try to do in these gardens is to make sure we label all of these plants. So if you're going to come and visit our garden, bring your pencil and paper. We want you to see the plants that do well in the central Ohio area and go back home to your backyard and garden and take these ideas and plant them in your own garden. Another one of our gardening goals or philosophies is to try to use as few pesticides as possible. We practice integrated pest management, or IPM. We scout the plants on a regular basis to try to catch problems before they get too big. Then, if we do find a problem, we make sure we select the right control for the problem at hand. In addition, if we're going to have to spray a pesticide, we make sure we target that pesticide for the right pest. We don't use any general purpose sprays. We try to keep the beneficials as healthy and as happy as possible. We let biological control, or Mother Nature, take control of some of our issues with insects. A good garden changes over time. Come back to the gardens any time of the season and you'll see a bunch of different colors, different plants, and different surprises around every corner.